All right, Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kahakwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, the title of this video is quick video. If they are not your brothers, sisters in this truth, brothers or sisters in this truth, don't trust them. Okay, and that goes for family, co-workers, old colleagues, okay, anybody that's outside of the understanding of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, okay? Now, when I say don't trust them, I don't mean that, to disrespect, right, or to show resentment or, be bitter towards them, because at the end of the day, all right, everybody's playing their lot in this world. So you can't really be mad at somebody if they're not in the truth like you, okay? In the beginning when you first come into the truth, yeah, you be kind of mad because it's frustrating, because it's like, come on now, the truth is right in front of you. You can't see it, but as you become more seasoned in the truth, you understand that this lot ain't for everybody, all right? And a lot of your family members are not destined to make it, okay? Remember, the Lord said he's going to save just a couple out of a household. All right. So when I say don't trust them, I don't mean run around and be a jerk. Right. But I ultimately mean you can't, be 100% vulnerable with people in the world. OK. You can't think that people in the world are going to have the same compassion and the same sincerity as you. Right? Because these people in the world, they don't govern their life by the standard of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, right? They're not trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. They don't believe in not worshiping idols and not committing adultery. A lot of these people don't even know, what's really even in the Bible. So you can't expect these people to, have your best interests at heart, all right? The brothers, the sisters in this truth is who you be vulnerable with and who you let your guard down around, and you could trust them, right, with your life, okay? Regular people in the world that are outside of this ministry, you can't really, you can't really let your guard down. You can't trust them, all right? And that goes for your family, anybody, kids, anybody, man, okay? And the reason why is because if they're not in the truth like you, they're more than likely susceptible to Satan, okay? And Satan can use them as a pawn to do things in your life to make your life harder, just a bunch of bullshit that you're gonna have to deal with, right? I'll give you an example, right? You might be with somebody that's in the world, you know what I'm saying? And, this person, is committing adultery with another man's wife right in front of you, right? Now, you fear the Lord. So when you fear the Lord, you don't really want to be around any of that type of activity. You know what I'm saying? You want to remove yourself from that situation. But the person that you with, they in the world, they just living a wicked life with no restraint, no thought towards the Lord. All right. And what you going to do? You can't really rebuke them and tell them, hey, man, the Bible says you can't be doing that. All right. They're going to look at you like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm living my life, So then, they kind of putting you in a sticky situation. Now you got to be around, a demonic environment because of them. This is why, the scriptures say to be continually around men of understanding, right? Be around people that worship the Lord like you do, okay? Because then you ain't going to have to worry about these sticky, wicked situations, right? Everybody's on point through the Spirit, man. Okay, so if somebody ain't in the truth, you can't really trust them. And then we coming into the time of persecution, All right. A lot of a lot of you brothers out there and you sisters out there, it's gonna be your family that's gonna turn you in to the authorities. It's gonna be your coworkers. It's gonna be you know what I'm saying, that nigga you play basketball with that you thought was so cool. You know what I'm saying? You got to, keep people that are in the world, you got to keep them at a certain distance. You can't let them know everything about you, right? You don't really want to be in their presence 24/7. You know what I'm saying? You want to, deal with them. What could I say? Kind of like like a side chick. I know that's kind of funny, but it's the truth. You want to kind of deal with these people like a side chick. Yes, even your parents, your brother, your sister. You might have to deal with them like how niggas deal with the side chick. Hey, I'll holler at you when I get a chance. If I don't hear from you, it is what it is. I'm over here, you over there, right? I'll see you when I see you, because you don't know what these people got up their sleeve, man. And you don't know, a lot of these people, they think God is, works this type of way and he don't. So then they'll try to hold you to that standard. Shit could just get messy, man. Keep a distance on everybody that ain't in the truth. Straight up. I don't know how else to say it. You want to keep a certain distance on everybody that's not in the truth, man. Okay? Now, there are certain situations where, some of you brothers out there, you might still live with your family members. You might have to live with, a roommate or something like that, because a lot of us don't have the privilege of living alone, right? Or living with brothers, you know what I'm saying? We might have to live with these people that are not in the truth, okay? Well, that's why, we always talk about being Clark Kent, being Bruce Wayne, right? In those type of situations, you don't want to really set off too many alarms, right? You don't want to set off too many alarms and, make your stance on the Lord obvious. You kind of want to appear as a regular person. You know what I'm saying? That way you don't, bring any trouble your way. Okay. But even if you live with your family or your roommates or whatever, don't trust them. Okay. Still don't trust them. Right. Don't let them know that you're going to camp on the weekends. Don't, don't be broadcasting that I'm on my way to camp. I'm on my way to camp. You in the middle of the living room with the scriptures and doing a study session in front of everybody. Then they come in, they're like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just reading the book of Luke, Yahweh Shim Yahushai said, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, you don't even want them to know that you in the truth, man. Right? Because that's when them demons start jumping on people and start trying to frustrate your purpose, okay? Right? You got to treat everybody like hey, man, you cool, but, you ain't gonna know too much about me. You gonna keep, like, I'm gonna keep this, this barrier up between us, right? On purpose. And it's like, we could be cool. We could be associates. I see you here, I see you there and shit like that. And that's what's up. But, I'm not going to be 100% vulnerable with you because I don't trust you because you don't know the Lord. All right. So let me knock these scriptures out and shut it out. Okay. This is Matthew 12 and verse 50. It says, for whosoever shall do the will of my Father, which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. You see? And Yahushua told that to his own mother, told her to her face, like, look, this is my family. This is my new family now. Okay. So, us that are in this ministry, us that are in this truth, you got to look at it the same. All right. Yeah. You might have had a family in the world. Yeah. You might have, you know what I'm saying? You might have been close with your cousin. You might have been close to that nigga in the world, okay, that you was hanging out with. Yeah, right? But, Okay, once you come into the truth, you got to realize that now you have a new family. You have, a new priority to tend to, right? And you got to put the brotherhood first. All right, you got to put that first, even over your own kids, man. Okay, this is your real family right here. Okay, everybody else is kind of just a sideshow, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Even your parents, man. And you honor and you respect your father and your mother. You help them out when you can, but hey, even they got to take a back seat to the ministry. Okay, you can't even trust them 100%. All right, because they're not in the spirit of the Lord. All right, let's get this next one. This is Ephesians 5:11. It says, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them." You see that? No fellowship. Okay? You don't really want to be hanging out too much with people in the world, man, because a lot of their vibration can rub off on you. All right? Or they could just get you involved in some bullshit, some uncalled, unnecessary bullshit because they live their life a certain way. So now you subject to their nonsense. Okay, that's why it says don't have no fellowship with them, right? You want to be around the true believers, more frequently, right, than anybody else. Okay, everybody else you can't really trust them. All right, you can't really think that they're going to treat you the same as brothers and sisters in the truth. Okay? This is why the Lord said, he that doesn't hate his father or his mother or his brother or his sister cannot be my disciple. Right? And it don't actually mean hate, like you hate your mama now, right? But it's more so saying like, you got to disregard them in a sense. You have to be willing to put them to the side and make this ministry the primary focus. This is your friend group now. Okay. You had friends in the world. That was cool. But this is your friend group now. This is your family. And you got to put this over everybody. All right. Because the unfruitful works of darkness, okay, could get you caught up in some bullshit. All right. Let's see. This is the last scripture. This is what you got to remember as well. This is 2 Corinthians 11, starting at verse 13, going to 14. It says, "For such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ." Okay? Talking about these wicked ass niggas out here that, these people will put on a mask, right? These people will put on a mask and act like they down with you. Some people out here even believe that they believe in God. This is why you gotta, test people with the Bible. You gotta test people with the Bible. You gotta measure people through the scriptures to see if they really believe in the Lord. A simple question you can ask somebody that says that they believe in God and they're God fearing. Just ask them, okay, what is the Lord's name? If they can't tell you what the Lord's name is, you can't trust them. Okay. Because they're worshiping a false idol, right? And that's just what it is. They're worshiping a false idol, okay? And they're susceptible to Satan's influence, okay? Verse, I think this is 14. It says, "In no marvel, for Satan is transformed into an angel of light." Yeah, so Satan can come in all sorts of different shapes, and sizes. Satan can come as your parents, your brother, right? Your coworker, your girlfriend, your kids, okay? You got to be careful. This is why you can't trust them. Everybody's a potential agent. Just like when you read, not read, but when you watch the movie The Matrix and you have Mr. Smith, right? When you watch that movie The Matrix, Mr. Smith was able to just hijack anybody, right? Anybody, the cashier, your next door neighbor. Mr. Smith could just hijack anybody at any moment, And now that person is doing the interest of the machines, right? If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So, in the spirit, okay, Satan can hijack anybody that's not covered in the spirit, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, right? Somebody you thought that, was cool. Somebody you thought that, was your friend or whatever. Next thing you know, Satan jump on them, and now they're your enemy now. I've seen it's happened so many times to me in this truth. It's happened to so many brothers in this truth. Okay, shit can switch at a moment with people that are not in the truth. Okay, shit could just switch with them, right? Because they got all sorts of demons on them because they have not fully cleansed themselves. They have not repented. You cannot trust somebody that has not repented to the Lord. All right, plain and simple. Okay, they don't live their life by the same standard, right? They don't conduct themselves with the same diligence as you do with the Lord. Okay, So I just wanted to make this video real quick. All right, just for anybody who needed to hear it. Okay, if they are not your brother or sister in this truth, don't trust them. All right, shalom, shalom.